Let's talk about the tight end. George Kittle. The guy I said the Niners should trade this offseason. The Niners are like, you're stupid. We're extending him. Okay. Well, in the last 8 games, including last year with the playoffs, he has 21 catches for 220 yards and 1 touchdown. And before people say, well, hey, he's been blocking. He's been running routes on 52 of 60 of Jimmy Garoppolo's 61 dropbacks this season. So that's not what's going on. He's running routes, and Jimmy Garoppolo isn't throwing to him. Kyle Shanahan isn't making him the primary read or whatever. Why do you think this drought is going on, and why is it happening? It's been half a season. What the hell?
Maybe he finally sees that, not finally, but maybe he sees that George Kittle's not as great as a route runner they think he is. You know, I always felt like, is he a great route runner? I'm sure he's a really good route runner.
What are they paying him to do, Jose? Why do they give him all the money that they gave him? I don't understand.
Because he can do both.
He's a decoy. He's a freaking decoy on this team. Oh, you think we're going to Kittle? Juwan Jennings.
Right? Same way they pay. No one pays Kyle Juszczyk the same way more than them because he can do both. He can. Hey, we can get him to execute. It's not just because he can block, great, but we can also send him out on a go route on a backside play action play because he's capable of it. Just because he's capable of it doesn't mean we have to use him in that sense all the time. You know, so it's a little like almost like a tuck and pull. But I feel like the way he's using them is because he really doesn't like where the offensive line is at. He wants Jimmy to be cleaner. I think I saw that Jimmy only got pressured once or hit once against the Rams. So the more you can get him cleared out, cleaned up, it's better to have that than to put Kittle out there. I guess that's what he's thinking. To me, it's like, you know what? Wouldn't you want to get Kittle more involved, like scheme him up? I mean, like you said, like the coach can literally be like, this play, I'm demanding it. It's going to him. Just like the week before, the pick that Jimmy threw to Debo, I believe that Kyle literally said, you're throwing this one straight to Debo no matter what. He can do that. So why he's not doing that, it's making me wonder if he sees him less as like a real impact receiver and just uses him as a decoy now.
That's crazy to me because they gave this guy so much money. But like, yeah, I mean, he's not like to that point about him blocking. He's not. He's doing great blocking on run plays, but on pass plays, he's almost always in the pattern. And so I just want to point out like some stats this year. Debo Samuel has 28 targets, 18 catches. Brandon Ayuk has 23 targets, 14 catches. Dude, Kittle is 7th on the team in receiving yards. He has 52 receiving yards this year. He has 9 targets, 6 catches, 52 receiving yards. Ray McLeod has more receiving yards. Jeff Wilson Jr. has more receiving yards. Kyle Juszczyk, Juwan Jennings, this guy has become a complete afterthought. And it's like, yeah, I wanted to trade him. I think he's a little bit on the downside of his career, but not like that. If he's on your team, you got to use him. And if you don't, your offense is going to suck. If he's just hanging around on the field, I think it's ridiculous, man. It's on Kyle. Jimmy just throws to the first read, no matter. He's not back there making decisions. He's like, where did Kyle tell me to go? Oh, okay, I'll go there. Kyle, call his number. Which makes me, Kyle is so weird sometimes. Like, did George say something to you last year? Because there was a stretch last year where he was like 9 catches, 180 yards. All of a sudden, what did he say? What happened? Is he in your doghouse? Are you trying to prove a point? Like, oh, you thought you were famous and now you're nobody? I don't even begin to understand what's going on. But it's really super weird. Kyle, you got to call his number. He's been calling deep shots for Tyler Kroft and Charlie Warner. Dude, stop. Stop right now. What are you doing? Ridiculous. Yeah, simply ridiculous.
It's kind of hard to argue that because he'll run those plays for them, but not George. Maybe it's because he knows those guys won't guard him the same attention.
Element of surprise.
It's like, hey, you're not going to expect my 3rd or 4th tight end to come wind you up with a nice little sucker punch.
And then when he drops the ball, it's like, oh, well, hey, maybe you shouldn't have called it for him.
I wonder if Kyle isn't operating his offense in a way that he doesn't have to rely on George Kittle because he knows when George Kittle gets hurt again, he doesn't want to be like, all right, I'm already used to not using him, so what does it matter? That's the cynicalist in me.
Wow. That makes sense. But if that's where you're at, you should have traded him last year, man. Yeah. If that's where you're at. But look,
he's a blocker and you paid him, then you look like a fool.
You know, if you look at his numbers in the playoffs, he's never really had a big playoff game. Like the Niners, if they're going to win a Super Bowl, they really got to reintegrate George Kittle into this offense. They got to, I mean, maybe don't overuse him early because he could get hurt, but at a certain point, he needs to be featured. Like, he's 7th in receiving yards on your team. That can't happen. He should be in the top 3. Dude, what are you doing? Kyle.
Yeah, and then I wonder if it's because Kyle. Also, another thing, going back to the quarterback, if maybe he's like, I can't put too much on Jimmy's plate because he's already missing some of the wide open receivers that I'm dialing up now. So what am I going to add one more option for? He's just going to miss him. But I mean, he had a couple of good throws to Kittle. I mean, I know one of them didn't count in the end zone. That were probably his best throws of the game of his season so far, where he just throws them open. I was like, okay, Jimmy, that's not usually your shtick, but that was two great throws you do right there, George, to anticipate throw. So, I mean, yeah, huge underutilization by Kyle. If you're supposed to be offensive genius, wouldn't you be able to get something schemed up so you can get this guy?
Now, to be fair, Kittle's only played 2 games out of the 4. But still, I mean, 26 yards per game, 3 receptions per game. Like, these are all career lows. Like,
could be slowly integrating him to a degree, maybe.
3 receptions per game, 26 receiving yards per game. As a rookie, he had 34 receiving yards per game. And it's not like he's trash. He's catching 66% of his targets. I mean, maybe he's just coming off an injury and they're trying to go slow. But, like, it's the fact that this is a pattern that went back to last season before the groin injury makes it, like, Twilight Zone-y. It's like, dude, what are we talking about here, man? It's like, am I taking crazy pills? Is Charlie Warner better than George Kittle right now? I don't understand Kyle's usage.